Throughout history, torture has often been rated as the most barbaric form of human aggression. It has not only been seen as a means to an end, but an end in itself. Under the international and domestic laws of most countries, torture is prohibited, with Amnesty International estimating that at least 81 world governments currently practice torture, with some very openly. Uganda's record on torture is not exceptional from the rest of the world, as civil society organizations, stakeholders and media houses continue pointing accusing fingers at perpetrators.
The most common perpetrators are still the police.
We get also situations where people would ordinarily go to ordinary courts for matters which are purely civil, and you find that because one has a friend in a security force, has a relative, they use them and they torture them in the process.
What have I done to you? Testimonies of victims of torture confirm that different forms of security personnel use unexpected, crude methods of investigation to obtain confessions, or at times to get even with those they consider enemies.
At around 10, we were from Namugongo Church. Then they took us to CID headquarters. Reaching CID headquarters, we met this guy called Major Salambwa. He got out his hammer and some stick. Then he started banging us, but he could target only the joints. He could bang the joints, each and every joint. So like 30 minutes you could not walk anymore and you couldn't stand. So like he put a gun into my head, pointed into my head and said that's going to kill me if I don't tell him where the guy is. And even the madam was there telling the guy to torture us. Maybe even if we die, for she doesn't mind.
Although the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda prohibits torture, there is still need for clear definition of torture under the law.
As of now, there is no crime of torture in Uganda. So we really deal with it as a human rights aspect.
The penal code hasn't yet defined torture as a crime. So what that means is in Uganda, if you want to prosecute someone for torture, you need to prosecute them under the section dealing with grievous bodily harm.
I've read in papers about torture. People don't feel torture because they are not tortured. People think when they lack finance, they are tortured. That is not torture. Torture is different. If these people have tried to define torture. But up to now, I don't know whether somebody will define torture the way I feel it within me. Personally, I can't define torture. It is one of the most sins that man can ever commit on earth.
In order to help society find a lasting solution to this bad practice, civil society organizations have come together to form a body known as Coalition Against Torture.
Coalition Against Torture is a loose grouping of 10 civil society organizations which was formed in 2005, and its main focus was to increase awareness about the dangers of torture, culminating in the commemoration of the UN Day in remembrance of torture victims every June 26th. CAT carries out activities which mainly focus on advocacy against torture, and we mainly go in sensitization of groups mainly in the justice, law and order sector, which means we deal with the security forces, training the security forces, police officers. We also train the prisons, and we also train community leaders. We usually recognize the UN International Day for Victims of Torture by reminding various stakeholders, who include the justice, law and order sector members, who are mainly, that is, police, prisons, the justice sector, about the effects of torture, and currently we are emphasizing to them that we need to criminalize torture by passing the Prevention and Prohibition of Torture Bill into law.
However, it is still debatable whether the use of excessive force is necessary, especially when a group of individuals choose to exercise their constitutional rights. Under Article 24 of the 1995 Constitution of Uganda, no person shall be subjected to any form of torture, cruel, inhuman, degrading treatment or punishment. Many victims of torture prefer to be quiet about their experiences, but those that have undergone rehabilitation feel confident enough to open up.
It was September 28th, 2001. I compiled a list of workers, names of guards, their ranks, to come and pick their salaries from the headquarters here in Bombo Road, Kampala. Little did I know that somebody is looking for me. So when I reached Lukaya, bus was stopped. People got out. Then some gentleman entered. He was in civilian clothes. Another one entered. There were about 3, and there was a lady behind me seated. Then the lady pointed that is the one. They put me in the double cabin and drove up to Masaka Barracks. So I met a major. Major said, "Have you brought him there?" Then decided questioning me. "What's your name?" I said, "But you have arrested. Who have you arrested?" So Major, that is Major Kamulali Katwechire, he ordered that let him be taken to theater. He's joking. And before you take him, bring him here. They brought him to me. They told me to move all the clothes. They moved my shirt. Of course, I had blood. They told me to move the trouser in their office. At that time, I didn't believe what was going on. A man pulled off my trouser and made in my hand. Then they told me, now take him to theater. But by that time, he had Katwechire he had something like it looks like a torch. I don't know, it's metallic, but it has two sharp points. He hit me thrice in the head, and I saw blood coming out. Up to now, I have the scars in the head here. Suppose I have my hair. You didn't tell me to shave my hair. If you shaved, you could see I have scars here up to now. When you touch here, the scars are there, and I feel headache all the time. When I press here, I feel pain. So they took me to theater. What they call theater is not theater. You have heard. It's a torture chamber. So they took me to the ground. It was coming to evening, and then my hand.
Polisi yatandika okunkwa polisi yennyini ko byambalo byali bya polisi ngera abasajja abayambadde ba polisi ya Uganda yennyini maama ne mundu nga baziyina ninga twenza gamba nti ono yegundi obono yegundi ko batandika ngokunkuba nzenna ne bankubanga amaaso ne bankwe kugamba nzenna nga bwe nali akaseera ako nenga bantayiza mu lukubo lwa toilet olwo mu toilet bansiseeyo ne batandika okunsambira mu toilet amala okunsamba obwongo bwakomaawo kale mu kaseera ako kwengeri gye bantulugunya mu toilet nga naye nnoonya ntaasa nga simulaba kwa bulaye Katonda maama.
Wale wakubwa wakakuja wakamtombokea kule askari wale wawili ambao walinipiga vile, kwa sababu walikuwa wananipigisha fimbo ambaye mle, yani huko nyuma inaonekana kama vile ni nauza simati hiyo Jesus tunasema, lakini mna masinga mle ndani. Mwili wote ulikatika hata hivi ningali bado na hivyo na hizo tashe. Nafikiri unaziona hata huku. Na kumgongo yangu sana, kwa sababu wako wananipiga ninafanya hivi na wako wananifunyaga. Hiyo kunifunyaga kweli ndio niletea matatizo makubwa mpaka leo. Basi wakanitupa ndani ya gereza. Sasa wakati tulifika ndani ya gereza tulikutana wengine wafungwa kama vile sisi. Wale wafungwa wakaniambia eti, kwa sababu walikuwa wanahoji kila mtu, wanamuuliza kila mtu jina lako, mahali unatoka. Hapo wale wakaniambia nitoe nguo zote, ile ya chini ambayo nilikuwa nabaki nayo, nao nikatoa, nikabaki na chupi. Wakaniambia nianze kuimba nyimbo ya moja ambayo ninajua ya Kikongo, niimbe na niicheze. Sasa kupitia maumivu ambayo nilikuwa nayo na kasirani ambayo nilikuwa nishakuwa nayo na mafikiri mengi, sikupata la kuwajibia, nikaanza kulia tu. Wakaniambia hapo kuna unalilia baba yako, unalilia mama yako. Unafikiri na sisi tuko hapa tunafurahi, wala sisi hatuwezi kufurahia na sisi tuwe nje kama vile uko nje? Nilikosa la kuwajibu, lakini ilikuwa ni machozi tu ambayo nilikuwa nalia na damu ilikuwa inanitoka.
I was put at the side of the stone, then he put a pistol and he shot in the stone. When he shot, I felt, that's when I blinked off. I thought I was dead. I couldn't believe. When he shot, tell us the truth. Tell us the truth. I said there's no truth. Now when he hit the stone, the fragments of the bullet, I was tired. This, it's now so many years back, 2001 up to date, that you can still see. You see, this was a very big wound, and the doctors have been operating to find out that the synovial fluid here was insufficient. This is a fragment that hit me. This one took me almost 1 year without healing. So this was a fragment. When he hit me, he told me, tell us the truth. Blood came out. At first I didn't feel pain when the fragments hit me, but after time, like an hour, that's when I felt pain here. But I felt like I'm paralyzed. So he told me, now, tell us the truth, or else we are here to give you more. There was nothing to tell. I was beaten. They said let us install speed governors into him. Now they started installing speed governors. My leg was the speed governors, they get your legs and they get sharp objects, and then they start hitting you. They hit these ones, speed governors. They say speed governors. They hit you. You may get a hammer, you may get anything sharp, and then they start hitting your joints. And when they are hit, of course you can't walk.
It is always pain and pain that torture victims express.
What's funny is that the people who torture us, you find them walking free. They are free and they feel they have not committed an offense. The government does not mind. You know, some of these people they act on behalf of the state, and I don't think the state can sway state.
I could talk of some physical people who are who have rendered impotence because of torture. We have heard of a case where a string with a brick was tied on a client testicle, and today the client is impotent. You know, it's not easy to handle such cases. And remember, impotence cannot be reversed. However much we try, we kind of like we rehabilitate, we cancel, but the effects are not easy to reverse.
ACTV, which is a lead partner of the coalition, has a theatre for treating victims of torture that sees clients on a daily basis. A clear indication that torture lives with us.
And now I've heard organizations saying that individual people must be held what? Responsible. This time, what do you know what they'll do? They'll pick you and kill you.
I think now it is the right time to choose two people, to show government and the real person who did the action.
CAT has experienced a success story of working as a group and fronting our causes as a group has helped us to go a long way in almost getting to the passing of the anti-torture bill, which started over about 5 years back.
In this bill we are proposing that information obtained out of torture should not be admissible in court. If you are going to beat me up or maim me, to save myself I may say I committed the crime, and they may want to use it in court. Court should be saying no. Considering the circumstances under which this information was obtained, it shouldn't be admissible. You know, now there is a requirement that before you table a bill in Parliament, and in this case, if we have to do it privately, you have to get clearance from the Minister of Finance as to the financial implications. I'm advised that last week we got this clearance, and so now we feel the door is open for having this bill tabled.
The hope for an end to torture in Uganda lies in the Prevention and Prohibition of Torture Bill of 2009 that is awaiting to be passed into law.
About torture being a crime and about torture being a violation of people's rights really needs to be addressed. I think a lot of times people working in an official capacity in a security sense aren't aware that what they're doing isn't actually permitted by law. And I think it's important to engage in some awareness raising for these officials to not only let them know that torture is a crime, but to also provide them with different tools and mechanisms that they can use in the course of their work. In Uganda, they've signed on to the International Convention Against Torture, but most importantly, the Constitution, which is the mother law of all laws in Uganda, specifically promises to guarantee that Ugandan citizens will be free from all forms of torture and cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment. That's in Article 24 of the Constitution, and I think it's a really important protection that people should recognize, and it's right there in Ugandan law.
Treatment, theatre, speed governors, safe houses, kandoya, kiboko squad are all terms that will always torment Uganda's victims of torture.
The wall is both sides, the cell on the other side. What I said, criminalize torture today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I will invite the rest of you to write on this wall of hope. I'll also read for you another one for Commissioner Etima.